Hey, it's Dave here with Design Upgrade Pro for H5P, and I want to show you some of the general design options. Now, these are some global options that we apply in many different places throughout H5P content. They work for a lot of different content types. So we tried to simplify things by putting things on this general design tab so that you only have to update them one time and you don't have to update them on each and every content type that you're using. So we're trying to reuse as much as we can. We know you want a lot of flexibility, but we also know that you don't want to be setting options in this plugin all day long. So the idea here is to set some global styles that will apply throughout all content types. So the first one we have here, global border radius. So this is going to be in pixels, and we recommend a max of 25. The reason we do that is if you go over 25, you can run into some issues where things can get cut off around certain corners if you put content really close to them, for example, in a drag and drop or in a course presentation. There's some stuff down here in the bottom toolbar that could also get cut off. We do a little bit to try to prevent that. So if you do go over 25, it's not the end of the world. We do actually limit these corners to 25 so that they don't cut things off, but we recommend things will just look better if you stay 25 or less. Now the global border radius will be applied to a lot of different things. It will apply to all kinds of answers for lots of different questions, multiple choice, true, false, single choice sets, summaries. It will also apply to any kind of image hotspot. Course presentations are also going to use it. So it applies to a lot of different things. Here's another example of the memory cards where it applies as well. In the future, we've gotten some feedback already, and we may look at giving you more options for setting the global border radius on an individual content type. That might give you more flexibility, and we might look into doing that. But for right now, the global border radius is going to apply on just about everything that's in a container with a background color that has corners. This is going to apply. The only exception is interactive videos. They do have their own border radius. And I guess the other exception is buttons, which I'll talk about in the next video. But interactive videos do have their own, so that's the only place where this global one does not take place. The next option here is global border thickness. So this is, again, in pixels, and we only let you do a maximum of 3. Once you go beyond that, it starts to cramp different things too much and messes with the spacing. So you can go 0, 1, 2, or 3 here for the thickness. And as we state here, it could be used for a lot of different things. We give you some examples. So quiz questions, containers, flashcards if you're using that content type, different input fields, and more. So anything that H5P gives a background to by default, or a border to, excuse me, by default, then we're going to apply this thickness and make it either 1, 2, or 3 pixels. So here's an example where we've got some mark the words content. You'll see these are 2 pixels here. And then here is a question that we've got, and again, 2 pixels is the border. It's a little hard to see with that background color, but here's a better example where you can see this is 2 pixels for this blue border that we've got going on there. So we can change that to 1, 2, or 3. That'll adjust the border thickness. It won't add a border where there isn't one, so keep that in mind. It's just going to apply the thickness to things that already have borders. You can set it to 0 right now, and that will remove borders from some things. If you have buttons that are in an outline shape and some of these questions, they will retain the border still, but many things, for example, like the mark the words, if you set the border thickness to 0, then this border will actually disappear. So putting it to 0 will remove the border in a lot of places, so keep that in mind. It can work, but usually we don't recommend it. We recommend either a 1, 2, or 3 value for that. Your main text color should be a dark color because it is used for some pop-ups that are going to have a white background, which you cannot control. So here's an example of one of our image content types where you can click the icon, you've got a pop-up. So right now this is not editable in our plugin, so it's always going to be white. And that's why we recommend using a dark color for your main text color. So this stuff right here is using the main text color. And basically any other description or title of content types or any instructions that you type in your content types. Let's see, where's another good example? Over here for the find the words in the column. Anything with fill in the blanks, these are going to use that. Basically all of your just general text throughout all content types are going to use this main text color. H5P used sometimes black, sometimes dark gray, different versions of dark gray. So we simplified all of that and made it all one color. Link colors, these are only going to apply if you are adding text links yourself in some of those descriptions, or anything where you're explaining things after a question is answered or things like that. So you have to actually add these links in yourself, and then if you do, then you will see they're purple and then they hover to pink here in this example. The one exception to that where we are using the link color is for certain things. So right now it's just the drag and drop, has a full screen icon here. We are using the link color and link cover color for that icon. We may use that for other icons as we add support for more content types, but right now that's the only other exception there, aside from the hyperlinks that you add in the text that you provide in your descriptions and explanations and things. The final option here for general design is for correct and incorrect colors. So H5P by default uses a lighter green and a darker green for correct and success, and then a lighter red and a darker red for their errors and incorrect answers. We give you the option to change these colors. Now, we still recommend red and green. However, you don't have to use red and green. You can switch it up and use something different. However, you really should stick with a dark color here and a light color here, as we put in parentheses. We stick with H5P's general concept of when they provide answer feedback, that there's a light background color and then a darker text color that is over top of that background. So if these colors are too close together, they're going to be really hard to read. So we recommend keeping a pretty solid contrast between the two, and keeping the dark very dark and the light very light. And so the dark color, we try to give you some help text here. All of your correct check marks are also going to be in this dark color. And then the incorrect and error color, dark color, that is going to not only be used for incorrect answers, but also for any cancel buttons or close icons. So sometimes you'll see an X in the top right corner. We're going to use the dark incorrect color for that as well. So that wraps it up for the general design, which are some of the global settings in H5P. We've got more videos coming your way for all of the other content types.